I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
My administration will take all necessary steps to safeguard our citizens from this threat.
Hysterical xenophobia.
Be giving Americans a false sense.
Is it accurate that if these steps had not been put in place, it could have been 2 million people dead here in the United States?
Yes. No matter how hard they try to stop us, they can't. We built the greatest economy the world has ever seen, and we're going to do it again. Together, we're beating back the invisible enemy.
What the federal government did was a phenomenal accomplishment.
Through it all, the world has witnessed the unyielding resolve of our incredible American people.
Promise made, promise kept.
And I'm fighting for you, and I love doing it with everything that I have. And you know that. With the grace of God, we will win this war, and we will win this war quickly. And we will make America great again.
Trump campaign is now reaching voters online.
You are seeing the President of the United States. Look at the lines.
You joined our movement.
A lot of President Trump supporters here.
Greatest movement in the history of our country.
As soon as Trump took office, where the gloves were taken off and you allow military leaders to actually win.
This is one of the first presidents in modern history, President Trump, that has stood up to China.
That he's truly a constitutionalist and that he's listening to the voice of the American people.
You should vote for the person who promises you something and then delivers. That's why I'm voting for President Trump.
We've seen border crossings drop significantly since President Trump came into office. We know that President Trump is a man of his word here in Arizona.
I love this president. He walks the walk. He talks the talk.
And I think with Biden, you're just going to end up going in the wrong direction with him.
We are one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. We will make America great again.
Welcome to Team Trump Online.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Team Trump Online and the launch of our newest coalition, Moms for Trump. I'm Lara Trump, Senior Advisor to President Trump's re-election campaign, and we have an all-star panel tonight of great MAGA moms who've been working tirelessly on President Trump's campaign. Kimberly Guilfoyle, National Chair of Trump Victory Finance Committee, Mercedes Schlapp, Senior Advisor of Strategic Communications, and Katrina Pearson, Senior Advisor to the Trump campaign. President Trump has been a champion for families and in particular for mothers. Tonight, in celebration of Mother's Day, we'll highlight some of President Trump's greatest accomplishments for moms, and we'll also talk about Joe Biden's history of corruption and lies. So we have a fantastic show in store. I want to get started right away. Let's kick off tonight's show by discussing the coronavirus outbreak because, let's face it, it's impacted all of America and really the entire world right now. Here at home, American lives everywhere have drastically changed during the last few months as a result of this public health crisis. Specifically, mothers have taken on even more responsibilities as if moms didn't do enough already. Moms are dealing with the added stress of homeschooling and figuring out how to support their families during this time. Ladies, welcome to the show. Let's jump right in. Every mom out there knows how hard it is to balance work and taking care of kids on a normal day. But in days of quarantine, it's been a lot more challenging. So I want to ask you, ladies, Mercedes, I'm going to start with you because you got quite a few kids running around your house.
Oh,
how have you done it?
Only 5 kids.
How's it been going for you? What have you been doing?
Do we count Matt Schlapp as one of the kids? Because then it goes
Go ahead. Yeah.
What do you want me to do? I know, Kim. I'm thinking, Kimberly, I'm thinking with John Jr., you got to count him in, don't you think?
Absolutely. He counts for like 2.
Well, you know, first of all, and Laura, I know we've had this conversation. It's been a struggle. I mean, you are trying to do your work every day and, you know, for the campaign. Obviously, for us, we're razor focused on defeating Joe Biden, getting the president reelected. But at the same time, you have the kids need you. They're not around their friends. They've canceled school. They're missing their activities, but they're also emotionally impacted by this pandemic. I was talking to my 12-year-old, and she said to me, Mom, there's a sense of uncertainty, right? We don't know if we're going back to school next year.
True.
And my 16-year-old, almost 17-year-old junior, they had to cancel her junior ring ceremony. She's going to go pick up her junior ring tomorrow from school. So they're missing these milestones, and it does impact their lives tremendously. Yeah. But I think, I've been able to have these conversations with the kids about saying, look, it's going to be all right. We're going to get through this together as a family. We've got our faith, and thank God we have President Trump in office right now, because the man is working 24/7 to ensure that he's protecting Americans, keeping us safe, as well as ensuring that we get this economy going again. And so I'm able to say, look, I know it's a tough time, but at least we've got a leader who's making sure that America is going to get through this crisis together. So I think that's been the critical point right now with our kids.
Well, I'll tell you, for me, my son is 2.5, so he doesn't fully understand what's going on. And I feel so sad because all day he wants to go see his friends, and he keeps asking to see his friends. And it's really hard to explain to him why we can't go see friend Grace, because we're not allowed to do it right now. So I'm trying every day to come up with new fun activities, but it gets a little challenging. Katrina, you've actually been stuck in Texas. You flew to Texas. You've been there the whole time. What's been going on with you? How have you been managing things?
Laura, it was a blessing, actually, to be in between campaign stops and stopped in at home before we all were grounded, essentially. So it's really worked out well for my family. I'm just so blessed and thankful and grateful to have landed in Texas, because I have 3 little nieces who need additional care when, their mother has to go to work since school is out. So I've really just been, stepping in that role for them, because I really want to make sure that they don't know really what's happening out there. I don't want them to be afraid. The last thing you want is for, a 7-year-old, a 2-year-old, or, a 10-year-old to be fearful to go outside and play and to see all the scary masks and everything. So I've just been at home in Texas. I've kept them the entire time, and, they're here running around. They're not here right this second, but they'll be here in an hour. And they just play. They swim 2 or 3 times a day. I wear them out. They wear me out. And, it's one of those things that, if you think back to 2016, Laura, we all knew that President Trump was the leader that we needed in this country for times such as this. When you look at the economy that he built up, that actually was able to, sustain this type of impact, it's scary to know where we would have been today if not for President Trump's leadership over the last few years. And so, it's tough times, it's hard, there's a lot of loss. And, I just take that and just know, I tell people all the time that we have hope, because we have a leader who actually puts Americans and America first when it comes to making these types of policy decisions. So I sleep well at night knowing that President Trump is at the helm, and we just need to do what we need to do to take care of our families.
Yep. And Kimberly, as we pointed out, God bless you. You're at home with Don. I mean, I don't know how that's been, but you've really been staying strong throughout this entire process. But I actually want to ask you, look, Katrina just pointed it out. President Trump has supported families, especially and specifically during this critical time. What is President Trump doing to provide relief to American families as we get through coronavirus, as we come out on the other side? Tell people what he's done to help support them.
Well, he really has been such a stalwart supporter of American families, of the American workers, the forgotten men and women that were left behind before. He really, I think, has a unique, important connection with the working class. He's been able to provide financial support to businesses who are really fighting to survive. They're fighting for their economic, survival during this pandemic. But the president has been very sensitive to that. He's had innovative programs, a Paycheck Protection Program. He's provided unlimited direct payments straight to American citizens that have been really, it's been a lifesaver to them that they needed in this time of need. When you think about it, that's because this is a man who is an American entrepreneur, who is a CEO, someone who has signed the front of a paycheck, creating incredible American jobs. He led this country to record low unemployment, over 7 million jobs created. That's why it's such a pivotal point in our history where we need someone like this, who is a creative entrepreneur, an innovator, a businessman, to get America back to work safely. And this means all Americans. So whether it's the single mothers out there who need help and relief to be able to get through this crisis, to be able to put food on the table for their children, you know, he is reaching out and coming up with unique and innovative ways to be able to do that. And I have, you know, great appreciation for what the president has done. I'm a single mother myself. I have my son, you know, Ronan, who is 13. I have Don Jr., who is 13 going on 14 years of age. And so being home every day, yes, you have no idea. I have to tell them both when it's bath time or shower time, feeding them, cooking, and then also trying to work, as we all are, working to fight for America, you know, for the president, for this campaign, to make sure that we can deliver a win. And you have to think about all these things and balance it. I mean, you think about it. There's moms at home. They have the hardest job in the world that are staying home and raising children, you know, thinking about meal planning, and now homeschooling children, trying to do that. I mean, my God, I'm like riding bikes now with Ronan and then making Mexican lasagna when I can't. You just can't make it up.
Bravo,
you know?
to you.
You know, you think like, okay, what am I capable of? You know, but God doesn't give you more than you can handle. And you find ways to reach deep within and do that. That's what our president is doing. That's what Americans are doing every single day and night as we push through together, united, to get through this pandemic. And I'm prayerful, I'm hopeful and optimistic. And I feel certain under the leadership of President Trump that we're going to be able to get through this. And I do believe the best is yet to come. Thanks be to God.
Well, I think you bring up a great point there. We all know that moms do have the hardest jobs out there. And I will tell you that my husband especially has gotten even much more of an appreciation for the jobs that moms do during the time of quarantine. He's stuck at home with all of us. And I'm like, I got to go to the grocery store to resupply us here. So have fun with the kids. And by the time I get back an hour later, you would have thought that he deserved a Congressional Medal of Honor. I mean, this is like the biggest task that's ever happened. So I think the guys out there are appreciating all the hard work that moms do every single day, especially working moms. Mercedes, we know that there are so many moms who are also small business owners out there. How is President Trump helping small businesses that have been financially impacted by coronavirus get back on their feet? And I hear from people every single day who are small business owners about this. I want to hear what you have to say about it.
Well, there's no question that President Trump understands that small businesses are the backbone of our economy. And I think it's one of the reasons why he's working closely with governors to get the economy reopened. I mean, when you're looking at the fact that you have these bigger stores where people can go to, I mean, I just yesterday was at one of the bigger stores and thinking, goodness, this is packed. Why can't they open up the mom and pop shop so I can go in there and go help them and support our local businesses? He understands the need of getting this economy going again. By the way, contrast that with Joe Biden, who wants to put increased taxes on the middle class and hurt small businesses. That's incredibly problematic. And so what we've been able to see during this time of coronavirus is the fact that President Trump has worked with Congress. They passed the Paycheck Protection Program. You're talking about 2.3 million small business loans that have already been processed. Okay, let me tell you something. I've worked in the government. Government is very slow moving. President Trump is the only one who can get this government moving fast, processing these loans. These loans are risk-free loans. This is basically telling the employer, look, you keep your employees. It's a risk-free loan. You don't have to pay it back. And you know what it's been able to do? It's been able to save 30 million jobs. And so I think that is monumental to help ensure that when we get through this artificial interruption of the economy, as the president has described coronavirus, that we're able to be back on our feet, that our communities are able to flourish again. And I think it's so critical as we're looking into this, getting closer to this election, that the American people understand that it is President Trump who has the back of the American workers, who's the one who's going to be able to rebuild this economy quickly, as opposed to a Joe Biden who is more focused on the Green New Deal, as we know that would eliminate millions of jobs, more taxes, and also job-killing regulations. The complete recipe for an economic disaster in America is something that we don't need right now.
We also know that President Trump always is looking out for every single American. He's always taken action to ensure that families and children are kept safe. And one way that he recently did that was by instituting the early travel ban from China at the very beginning of the coronavirus crisis. And this is something that Joe Biden condemned, of course, called hysterical xenophobia. We all remember seeing that clip time and time again. Then, of course, he maybe forgot what he said, because we know Joe Biden can't keep things straight. He forgets a lot of times, and then he tried to, turn that back around. But I want to ask you guys, as a mom, does it worry you that Joe Biden would not be able to do what was needed to keep America safe? Kimberly, let me go to you.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I mean, I think about this every day and at night. I literally lay awake worrying about it. And I think about what a Biden presidency would mean, for me, for my son, Ronan, for, all of our families. This is a man that is really, I believe, unfit to serve. He has really had a very weak, ineffective and incorrect response to this current crisis. When you think about it, I mean, he's hiding out in his basement with 10 teleprompters. He has no idea what's going on.
Still can't get the words out, but
yeah, he just can't. And he literally is struggling. We don't need a commander-in-chief who struggles, who isn't an innovator, who doesn't have ideas, who doesn't have the resolve or the wherewithal to serve and lead this country back to greatness. And it's very, to me, disturbing when I think about the fact that this is a man who literally, I don't feel, has the capacity to serve at this point. And why is it? I mean, do these people have so little regard for the country and for Americans that they would put this individual forward to be the commander-in-chief? I mean, it's very, very disturbing when I hear this. And Robert Gates, President Barack Obama's defense secretary, said that Joe Biden has been wrong on nearly every major foreign policy and national security issue over the past 4 decades. Stop right there. This is such a problem when you think about it. And then here's this other, winning, shining example of somebody who thinks that Biden would be a great president. And if you remember, May 1st was the 9th anniversary of Osama bin Laden's assassination. And Biden has admitted that he was the only person in the room that didn't think that we should have gone in to take out the world's most notorious and deadliest terrorist mastermind, right? He said, no, let's not do it. So that is the kind of terrible judgment you have to think about at home, and moms should think about at home. Who will keep America safe? Who will keep your children safe? This is a guy that really has bad judgment. He's not up for the task to be commander-in-chief. He will not keep Americans safe, and let alone Osama bin Laden said that he wanted to assassinate Obama so that Biden could be president back in the time. That was his plan. So when you think about that, how could anybody cast a vote in any way, shape, or form on election day for this guy? I mean, Joe Biden is representing the party of infanticide, of out-of-control taxes, tax and spend Democrats, like you said, the Green New Deal, all of it. I don't see any of that being good for America's future or for our children. And I really think moms out there should think about that. And when you think about the latest with the sexual assault allegations that have serious corroboration from Tara Reade, moms really should think too, is that the person you want in the Oval Office and working with women that behaves in this fashion? This is an individual, I think, that is completely and totally unfit to serve, and America deserves better.
And Lara, can I quickly add to that? The pattern of lies, pattern of lies coming out of Joe Biden. When you look at those old videos of him lying at law school.
If you haven't seen the video, everybody should go watch this video. He literally goes on a rant about all of these accolades he received, the top of his class, etc. Sorry, Mercy, don't mean to interrupt you, but if you haven't seen it, go watch it. Go ahead. I want to hear what you have to say.
No, that's it. I just wanted to add that point. I think it's like in every stage of his career as a career politician, he has lied. He plagiarized the speech in 1988 when he ran for president. It's one of the reasons why the national media called him out and said he shouldn't be the nominee. I mean, it is just a pattern after pattern of lie. That college where he was the outstanding student, top of his class, all lies. The man cannot be trusted. And as Kimberly said, unfit to be president.
Yep. Yeah, and I'll answer, Kimberly's question. She said, how could anyone vote for Joe Biden knowing all of these things? Right. And the answer is very simple, KG. People who don't want America to be successful. Sure. It's been that simple. And if anyone's been paying attention over the last few years, there are people, whether it be, in the media or on the Democrat side, who've been cheering for economic downfall, who've been against our country, who have sided with foreign nations, hostile foreign nations against our country over our own. So the people who want to vote for somebody like a Joe Biden, someone that they know is going to be a puppet for whomever is going to fill his family's pockets, those people who want to see America's fall will vote for Joe Biden, because otherwise they're just simply not paying attention.
Yeah, they would rather see our country fail than see Donald Trump succeed. They're so obsessed with hating him that they would rather it be the detriment and the destruction of America instead of Donald Trump getting one piece of credit for anything. They will never give him credit for anything, and they would rather see us fail. And by the way, when we're talking about moms, I just want to piggyback off of something, KG, that you mentioned. You talk about the safety and security of your children. You think about things that President Trump has talked about since day one of his candidacy for president, which is securing our borders, making sure we have secure borders. You contrast that with the fact that Joe Biden wants open borders. Could any of you imagine how much of a disaster the coronavirus would have been in this country with open borders? It's not just about making sure that you don't have illegal immigrants pouring into the country, which of course we know is so bad on so many fronts for our economy, for workers all across this country, for the safety and security of our kids, making sure that we don't have drugs pouring into this country. But for a time like right now, when you need to know who is coming into your country, and Joe Biden wants open borders, let everybody in, are you kidding me? That is something everybody needs to think about. Take a long, hard look at some of Joe Biden's policies. Every single way, it is the destruction of America. It's actually really, really frightening.
He's dangerous.
Yes, very, very dangerous. All right, ladies. Well, thank you so much. Everybody stay right where you are. We're going to take a very quick commercial break. We will be right back with more Moms for Trump. Stay right there.
This is Brad Parscale, President Trump's campaign manager. Without a doubt, 2020 will be the most important election of the history of our great nation. America has come too far in the last 4 years to give up now and let the Democrats undo all of our incredible progress. Don't listen to the fake news media. They said we had no chance in 2016, and they're saying it again now. The future of our nation depends on you. The only way to ensure victory and keep America great is to get out and vote. Use the link below to make sure that you're registered to vote.
We choose truth over facts.
And welcome back to Team Trump Online with MAGA Mamas. I'm Katrina Pearson, back with Lara Trump, Kimberly Guilfoyle, and Mercedes Schlapp. Now, ladies, we just heard directly from some moms who are helping reshape presidential politics. But let's dive into this one issue that I think a lot of moms are paying attention to, and that is the Tara Reade sexual assault allegation. And, Kimberly mentioned it earlier, Joe Biden has been credibly accused of sexual assaulting his former staffer in 1993, but he's denied it after so many other people have been talking about it and trying to defend him. Even her own mother came back from the grave, essentially, in an interview and corroborated this. So the Democrats have definitely changed their tone on whether or not they believe women. And I just want to point back to the Brett Kavanaugh hearings. Brett Kavanaugh was a man who was not running for political office, did not ask to be thrust into the limelight, and was excoriated publicly by these allegations against him, and was treated in a much different way than the media is portraying or even covering, or lack thereof, Tara Reade's story. So there's definitely a double standard here when it comes to Joe Biden. And Mercedes, I'd actually like to start with you, because you know Justice Kavanaugh. So I want to know how you feel about what's happening today.
You know, the hypocrisy is overwhelming to watch these Democrats, especially the women senators like Kristen Gillibrand, like, I mean, you know, we looked at Hillary Clinton that just endorsed, I was about to say Bill Clinton. Isn't that awful?
Same thing.
Joe Biden, you know, you look at all these senators, these women senators, these Hollywood actresses, and you want to gag. You're like, are you kidding me? Like, there you were there trying to take down, destroy Kavanaugh, a man of such great honor and dignity, a man who has served our nation well on the District Court of Appeals, you know, and they were like, we believe his accusers. We should always believe the women. And then all of a sudden, Tara Reade comes into being, and they've taken a whole different tone with this. You know, you even have the op-ed, New York op-ed writer basically say, yeah, I believe Tara Reade, but I'm going to vote for Joe Biden. You have the other editor saying, yes, we need to make this not an investigation, but a coronation of Joe Biden. The disgraceful behavior of the media on how they are basically standing by Joe Biden, yet they spent hours and hours and hours trying to destroy Justice Kavanaugh is outrageous. It is outrageous, and the double standard, I think the Americans see very clearly through the double standard of how the Democrat senators, especially these women senators, are saying, I'm going to stand by you, Joe Biden, and yet decide that they're going to basically, you know, carve out and throw away Tara Reade and her allegations.
Yeah. But you know, Mercedes, there's two other things here, Laura, and I'm going to put this to you because I think this is really important considering the contrast that many of us have experienced on Republican campaigns, right? So Mercedes just said that the media was essentially standing by Joe Biden, but this is far worse because not only that, they were actually covering for him in the very beginning. And so I want you to really express how you feel about this double standard and how many times that, you know, many of us have been out there defending people who were falsely accused without corroboration. And then all of a sudden, women aren't to be believed anymore.
Well, the problem I think the Democrats have is karma has come back around for them. Yeah. And when you say something like believe all women, blanket statement, how ridiculous do they feel now? Because when you say things like believe all women, it doesn't allow for due process, which we know is necessary in the United States of America. It doesn't allow for the presumption of innocence until proven guilty. But back when it was convenient for them to say such a ridiculous blanket statement like believe all women, when they were trying to drag through the mud Brett Kavanaugh, this guy couldn't even coach his daughter's basketball team anymore, guys. I mean, I felt, you guys all remember, we all felt so bad for Brett Kavanaugh. And to your point, Mercedes, Alyssa Milano, we all remember sitting behind him just to harass him there in those hearings. It was ridiculous. But now she has come out and said, you know what? I support Joe Biden. No. Either you believe all women or you don't. So what they meant to say was believe all women unless the woman is accusing a Democrat, in this instance, the supposed Democrat nominee for president, of a crime. And then in that case, then, well, you know what, maybe we believe Tara Reade, but we're still going to support him. How hypocritical can these people be? And if American voters cannot sit up and see what's going on here, I mean, we've got a much bigger problem on our hands. There's a reason that the mainstream media holds no credibility anymore with people all across this country. They have lost credibility because they do things like this. They cover for people like Joe Biden. They don't run the stories on him like they tried to do to Brett Kavanaugh. The Democrats look absolutely ridiculous, and we will see whether or not they really believe all women. They have a lot of explaining to do.
Tons of explaining, but Kimberly, in that vein, if you take, Mercedes pointing out the media sort of standing by Joe Biden, Lara pointing out the hypocrisy and the double standard, what does this say for women? Because, Mercy mentioned the New York Times op-ed of a woman saying, well, yeah, he did it, he raped her, but I'm still voting for him. What about the women who are out there who are being abused today and they see this? And, and I've said publicly that this emboldens predators now to continue to prey upon women who don't have a voice, particularly if they're a prominent Democrat. Why do you think that the media has gone this far for Joe Biden?
Yeah, I mean, they really have absolutely no integrity, no credibility whatsoever. They've lost it if they even had a shred before. I mean, President Trump, when he talked about the fake news, it's even far worse than that. It's really unconscionable, in fact, because not only will they go out of their way to print lies, they will condone criminal acts. I worked as a sex crimes prosecutor, cases committed against women, against children, of sexual assault and physical abuse. So it's particularly sickening to me to see these allegations, to see that, in fact, this is a credible case. There is corroborative evidence to support it. And nevertheless, not only do they turn a blind eye to it, they're essentially endorsing violence and sexual assault against women, because they're saying that it is okay for a person in a position of power and authority, like at the time, Joe Biden, for him to have his way and to commit sex crime against a female. To me, this is just an automatic, total disqualifier. But these people really hate and have Trump derangement syndrome, and they hate President Trump so badly, they're willing to compromise anything. They're willing to sell their souls to the devil, to put this man in to try to remove President Trump from office. And it just really goes to show you the lengths to which they will do this. And when you think about it, it checks out. It makes sense. This is who they are. This is the juxtaposition between the left and the mainstream media and the Democrats and those people that would support Joe Biden. I'm particularly disturbed that women, by hearing these allegations and seeing this case and seeing the evidence over the years of Joe Biden's mistreatment of women and the sexual assault he's accused of here, that they would still go ahead and vote for him on November 3rd. They really need to do a deep soul search and think about what they're doing. And quite frankly, the men out there, how about the men and the fathers, and the brothers that have sisters or daughters or nieces? Would you condone that if it happened to someone in your family? Would you still vote for Joe Biden, knowing what this man has been accused of and what he is capable of? I tell you, to me, it's that is one of the biggest issues that should be focused on in this campaign and the choice that Americans have.
The pandering literally knows no limits when it comes to apparently the Democrats and Joe Biden. The fact that anyone would say, I'm choosing a woman as my running mate, why not choose the best person? They tried this stunt in 2016.
Agree.
You guys remember every single interview I did, I remember every single time they would say, but wouldn't you want a woman to be president? How about the best person being president?
Exactly.
It doesn't matter
Amen,
if it's a
Laura.
man or a woman.
Exactly.
This VP woman thing is so absurd. I hope the ladies out there have taken note as to the lengths of pandering that the Democrats and Joe Biden are going to right now, because they want your vote. It is ridiculous. They look so dumb to me. I can't get over that.
It is. It's an insult to women's intelligence to say something like that. Now, I want to get your reaction. We mentioned the Democrats who were in office, Kamala Harris, Elizabeth Warren, Kirsten Gillibrand, and the others who were really out there on the front lines, when Christine Blasey Ford was out there, hurting Brett Kavanaugh's hearing process. But now all of a sudden, they're quiet. they don't really have much to say. They no longer believe women. They've actually fallen in line with this disgusting narrative now. And so I want to get your reaction to the Me Too movement. Laura, you go first, Mercy, and then KG can close us out.
I mean, it's just kind of astonishing to see these women who were supposed champions of women now kind of changing their tune and, oh, wait a minute, we changed our mind. We're not going to go along with what we said, 12 months ago. Now it's different because it's Joe Biden that's being accused of things. These people are ridiculous. I mean, if you ever wanted to put your trust in somebody in authority and an authoritarian position like this, these are not the people. They have lied every step of the way. They're trying to cover up for Joe Biden. And it kind of begs the question, is there more out there? What else is going to turn up? How will they react then? It's going to be a long road to November 3rd for these folks, I think.
So, yeah, I mean, Joe Biden has clearly had a record of flip-flops, and it sounds like these women senators are doing the same thing. They're flip-flopping on this issue, and especially for like a Kamala Harris. We know she's auditioning for the VP slot.
Oh, yeah.
Here she was one point, and you remember this, Katrina, when she was bashing Biden on mass incarceration of minorities. And then she comes around and gives him a big hug and says, I love you, Joe. Let's be real, people. There's some of these very ambitious women who are willing to throw their values to the side to become his vice presidential pick. And it's just simply disgusting. It's like the fact that they're not going to stand by what they say, all women, and stand by a man who I think we still have a lot of questions to be answered, I think is very problematic.
Yeah, Kimberly, the prosecutor, what's your take on the Me Too movement?
Yes, and I wrote an op-ed about this this week, and it's clear to me that the Me Too movement has been co-opted, quite frankly, and it has been weaponized, okay, and politically, selectively, they've weaponized it. And sadly, for the past and for future victims of sexual assault, it has actually been destroyed. They have done more damage than you can possibly imagine, the Democrats, in their pursuit of power, in their lust for power. They have lost all principles, and they've hurt women in the presence of this and during this whole process, which is very difficult because it has a chilling effect. And then women who have credible claims do not want to come forward because they see that they are literally disregarded, forgotten about, and treated like garbage, essentially, and especially by, in this case, a man in a position of power. It's very devastating, and it, I think, really further enables those to commit these kinds of crimes against women without fear of reprisal or repercussion. And, during the 2018, the Supreme Court, the confirmations that you all referenced for Brett Kavanaugh, Senator Lindsey Graham was one of the greatest moments of all time, tore into the Democrats' smear campaign against the nominee, shouting, boy, you all want power. I hope you never get it. And that's what I say to the American people. I echo what Lindsey had to say, because let's make sure they never get that power. And you can exercise your voice on November 3rd by voting for President Trump. I hope they never get it, and that's why we're all working so hard to make sure to stand for all Americans and to stand for women and sexual assault victims.
Yeah, well, I hope this November all women vote with their voice for President Trump and reject this type of predatory enabling that the Democrats have unleashed today. So ladies, we'll be right back. We're going to take a quick break. And for our viewers, we'll be back with more Moms for Trump for Team Trump Online.
As we have already seen, his America First agenda has lifted all Americans up and have empowered them with true economic emancipation that has once again made the American dream possible. That's why I want you to text EMPOWER to 88022 right now if you want to keep America great and deliver 4 more years for President Donald J. Trump.
Ready to go?
This is a crisis.
This is no time for Donald Trump's record of hysterical xenophobia.
Biden's son inked a $1 billion deal with a subsidiary of the Bank of China.
China is going to eat our lunch? Come on, man.
They're not bad folks.
Since the outbreak, the Communist Party has been mobilizing overseas organizations to buy local supplies and send them to China.
It is in our self-interest that China continue to prosper. What a beautiful history we wrote together. Banning all travel will not stop it.
The president is right. That travel restriction on China, as every public health official we've talked to said, bought the country time.
That was a very smart move right there.
Hysterical xenophobia. Xenophobia. I complimented him on dealing with China. I'm not going nuts.
Welcome back to The View. No, I'm just kidding. You're with Team Trump Online with Moms for Trump. We just launched the coalition. Make sure you become part of this great coalition. And with me tonight are, I think, the hottest mamas in the USA. Lara Trump, Kimberly Guilfoyle, and Katrina Pearson. Also just beautiful women inside and out. So I'm so glad you all are with us. But we wanted to talk about something newsy that's happened this week. We saw that the Texas Supreme Court ordered the release of a Dallas salon owner who was jailed for ignoring the shutdown order. I thought this was a fascinating story. We were talking about this earlier. First of all, because we all need haircuts, number one.
Yes,
Everybody was cutting her own hair, and so was Lara. I'm too afraid.
Story.
But Katrina, walk us through. You're in Texas. I mean, what happened here with this story?
You know, it was extremely disturbing, Mercedes, because you have these, liberal judges. And one of the things that I've been really just pushing on Twitter is, judicial elections matter, people. And this is why, because you had criminals being released from jails because of COVID, and they're criminalizing moms and dads for just being moms and dads, wanting to feed their families. And they really took advantage. The left has really taken advantage, whether it be at the judicial level or even some of these governors. And you can see that kind of unfolding all over the country. But here, particularly in Dallas, there's a woman who owns a salon here in North Dallas. And, she did what everybody else did. They followed the guidelines. They took a step back for a little while to help, slow the curve as everyone was asked to do. But after so long, the bills are due. You have to feed your kids. People live paycheck to paycheck. A lot of people don't have a ton of money just sitting around in their savings account that they could utilize whenever there's a crisis. She has people under her who depend on her to feed their families. So she was really someone who decided, the numbers had been changing, the curve had been flattened. So she decided, I'm going to open my salon, because she had hairstylists who were not eating because they needed to feed their children. So at some point, she made a decision, a personal decision, an American decision, to open up her salon and to allow those people to come back to work. And it was something that sort of sent shockwaves. And what happened is the police showed up to her salon and cited her and wanted her to close it. And she said no. She essentially told the authorities that she'd rather go to jail than be responsible for her employees not being able to feed their children. And since then, there has been a huge outcry of support for this woman. The governor is reopening salons next week. And so why this is so important today is that knowing all of this, knowing that the governor has already said, we're going to be reopening Texas, they still put this woman in jail for not closing her salon. The Dallas County judge who's issued these horrible requirements for Dallas County has went ahead and moved forward with the citation. The judge in her case, the district judge in this case, decided to put her in jail. There's a video online of the interaction between this judge and this woman. He called her selfish, and her response was, it's not selfish to want to feed my children. So with that, she spoke for moms all over this country who are feeling the pain right now of having to go through this pandemic and who are unable, like others may be able to, provide for their families in a case like this, because a lot of stylists, it's just them. They're small business owners. They don't have corporate conglomerates that can sustain their leases while they're out of work. And so she took a bold step. She kept her shop open, And just today, the Texas Supreme Court has weighed in, ordering the release of Shelley Luther from the county jail.
That's right. I think it's quite a story. And I know here in Virginia as well, they just had a pastor who was also fined for, I think, putting together a group of people. And, I think the challenges that we're finding between reopening up the economy, reopening churches, reopening up businesses, and also ensuring that we stay safe. So, Laura, I think you were also, touched by this story in terms of saying basically where Shelley, how Shelley responded during this time and during this crisis, that she herself had to make a really tough decision.
She did. I mean, listen, there's no parent out there that could have watched what she said. And Katrina, you said it perfectly, exactly what she said. The judge said, you're being selfish by reopening your salon. And she said, no, sir, I'm not being selfish. I'm trying to feed my children. There's no parent out there, and I literally get chills just saying it, that can watch that and not feel for this woman. And when she talks about the fact that these folks that work for her, the people that work at the salon, some of them are not eating so that they can give their kids the food. I mean, it's heartbreaking to think of this. So this woman made a choice. And look, we've never found ourselves in a spot like this in the United States of America. We've never had to deal with something like this. And so everyone is trying their best, I think, to follow the guidelines and to do what is required. But at a certain point, I guess people have had to make tough decisions like this. And listen, I think it's hard to fault somebody for saying, I'm going to do everything I can for my kids. I think we can all appreciate that. And, that's what this woman decided to do. Really amazing.
Governor Abbott, Greg Abbott from Texas, he's modifying the recent executive order related to the coronavirus pandemic to eliminate jail time for Texans who violate the restrictions. So he obviously adjusted accordingly. Kimberly, let me ask you, what do you think was going through the mind of the judge's mind when he was basically listening to her make her plea?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think all Americans can empathize with her. And I think you guys laid it out and stated it very eloquently that, when you think about this, and you would hope that the judge would factor it in. And I understand as a former prosecutor about looking at the letter of the law versus the spirit of the law. And when you think about it, you try to balance out of doing, more harm than good with some of these things. And I know the president's particularly sensitive to that. He has nuance. He understands, and he's very empathetic, just like he has been empathetic about the terrible loss of life. He said he can rebuild the economy, but he cannot bring back the loved ones. And it's the same emotion and line of thinking, which is you feel like your life and your family and your ability to provide for your children. A lot of these people do not have big savings accounts or an ability to be able to rely and fall back on an economic cushion during these tough times. And this has gone on for a while. So I think it's very tough. And we used to have to face these decisions when I was a prosecutor, when we had, tremendous discretion, but tremendous power and authority when you're in government or you're a judge or you're a prosecutor about what cases to charge, who that you're deciding is endangering the public health or safety or well-being. And this is a particularly interesting case and compelling because you do have, a mom saying, I want to feed my children. I want my employees to be able to feed their children. So she feels a sense of responsibility as a business owner about making sure that people actually can put food on the table and take care of their loved ones. Who doesn't relate, to that? But then nevertheless, that's a judge that she appeared in front of, obviously just turned a blind and cold eye to it and, put her in jail. I mean, my God, you have to really think about it. Like there's people that are getting out with no bail that have committed rapes or crimes like that, but you're going to put a woman like this in jail? I mean, come on, people, get it together. This is, overstepping bounds and judicial authority. I'm happy the governor showed leadership, Governor Abbott, in this regard, and that people advocated. I know, a lot of people from Texas that felt very strongly about this and were reaching out to their, public officials and to leaders in place to make sure that the right thing was done here. But I think it just really echoes the point that Americans, and brings it home, they are suffering and they do want to get back to work. And I know that President Trump cares deeply about it. You've heard him in his meetings and his conferences, his teleconferences, saying, hey, I want to make sure I don't want your family to be hurt. So, and that's why you need somebody who's really on top of it and understands that the economics behind it and the emotion, like President Trump versus a Joe Biden.
That's a great point. I'm going to quickly shift gears here. Lara Trump, let me go to you. You and Brad have put together a very strong, sophisticated campaign. We quickly had to change into what would be a virtual digital campaign to really stay connected with our voters and with our grassroots. Let me ask you, one of the most important little secrets is the fact that we have so many women in the campaign. Why don't you share with us how we've gotten to this place, despite the fact, like Glamour magazine ignored us when they started talking about women in presidential campaigns.
Yeah, well, Glamour magazine did an article not too long ago during the primaries, the Democrat primaries, and they highlighted women in politics, women at the head of presidential campaigns. They didn't even bother to ask the Trump campaign. We are over half women in the Trump campaign. Let me say that again. Over half of our employees on the Trump campaign are women. And they didn't even bother to check in with us. So you want to talk about missing the mark there, but I don't think that's surprising. We know probably who they would support. They're probably voting for Joe Biden, so no surprise there. But look, the Trump campaign and the president has done so much, I think, to empower women. If you just look at a person like me, for example, I grew up in North Carolina. I had no background in politics, yet there's some special ability, I think, that Donald Trump has always had to really see things in people that sometimes they can't even see in themselves. And in 2016, he gave me an incredible opportunity to join on the campaign and gave me a lot of leadership ability and said, you know what, you want to start Women for Trump and you want to go for it, go for it. Do what you think is the right thing to do. He allowed me to really flourish. And we're here today because of him. And we are continuing all these incredible coalitions because of the way that he empowered me at the time. Katrina was on the campaign trail with me. You remember our bus full of women. Everywhere we went, we would continue to see women at every stop. I mean, massive, massive groups of women there. And we were like, wait a minute, the mainstream media is saying that women aren't going to support Donald Trump. But those women saw through the mainstream media narrative. They saw how impactful and effective this man could be for this country. And at the Trump campaign, it's no different. Listen, we empower women. We want to give everybody a fair shot at everything. And it just so happens, ladies, as we all know, women are pretty darn good at so many things out there. And that's why we are comprised over half of the campaign of women. So we're really proud of that. And it's not actually anything that I think we went out of our way to do. It just happened organically, which is the best way and the way it should be.
Because you picked the best and the brightest people that you could,
right.
Not because of their gender, whether they were male or female, like Joe Biden thinks that women are not strong enough and not capable enough to be a credible candidate on their own. He wants to pick someone on the basis of their sex. Shame on him. President Trump has selected excellent women because they are strong and smart and powerful and the best choice for the job. That's what you should make your vote about.
I love
that.
that.
And that's a testament, though, to the men that we work with also.
Yes.
All of you know that there are many times when there's a decision that needs to be made, usually it's not made until they check in with the women and the campaign. And so I think
Which
that's
is how
also
it is
a
across the
testament
board
to the men.
everywhere, right?
Yes,
exactly.
So we're grateful.
Don't tell the men, but we're much smarter than they are. But don't tell them. Don't.
I think they know.
They already know.
Okay. Well, we got to take one final break. It's a commercial break. Don't forget to go to our store and go get your MAGA Mom hats. Have you got a Mother's Day gift? Come on, people. It's never too late. Even if it's Saturday night, just order it. It'll get there late. But let me tell you, these are the coolest things. They're so hot. Go to DonaldJTrump.com. Make sure you get your hats. We'll be right back.
We turn now to that $350 billion fund to help small businesses and its workers get through the shutdown.
It will be up to Congress to restock it.
But Democrats blocking that move this morning.
They asked for $250 billion in 48 hours. I said, well, I don't think so. They objected, and I
congratulate the Senate Democrats.
Speaker Pelosi, what are you going to share with us from your home?
Chocolate candy.
Thousands have been forced to wait for hours at food banks all across the country.
This is
my
chocolate, and then we have some other chocolate here. We just got it restocked with the ice cream.
You don't want to eat up everything all at one time.
I can't do it much longer. I'm trying so hard.
We were, shall we say, enjoying.
Having to admit that, yeah, we're starving, and
I like it better than anything else.
Taping this segment, there are 22 million people out of work.
This specific program is about stopping job losses today.
This is hurting people bad.
Other people in our family look for some other flavors, but
Right now, it's survival move. You don't know where that next something else is going to come from.
I don't know what I would have done if ice cream were not invented. I just wonder.
Democrats destroy everything they touch. That's a fact. After years of failure as a result of their terrible leadership, our nation is finally winning again under President Donald J. Trump. Sadly, the Democrats and the fake news media hate my father more than they love our country, and they're doing whatever it takes to tear us down at the expense of the American people. That's why we need every American patriot to step up and join our fight. Just download our app to receive alerts from the Trump campaign, and you'll get the latest updates on our efforts to keep America great.
All right, welcome back to Moms for Trump, MAGA Mamas Online. I'm Kimberly Guilfoyle. All right, we love your hat, Mercy. We love your hat.
Great.
It's like a QVC channel right there. And you can get them online. It's fantastic. All right, thank you all for joining us. And we all just want to make sure that we're going to keep America great this November and defend our country against Sleepy Joe and those radical Democrats. We need all the help that we can get. We need you patriots out there that are at home watching right now to join our fight to re-elect President Trump. And here's how you can get involved. We ask you to kindly download the new groundbreaking Trump 2020 app, and it is now available on Apple and Android. So people can sign up to volunteer, make voter contact calls, or register for events, and you can earn exclusive prizes. Now, to stay in contact with us, if you would kindly and please text MAMA. No, you can't make it up. MAMA to 88022. And if you or your friends, your family, or your neighbors want to be involved in our fight to re-elect President Donald J. Trump, please visit armyfortrump.com and sign up. Another great way to get involved is by joining the Trump Victory Finance Committee, and it is a nationwide network of volunteer fundraisers or bundlers who play a crucial role in ensuring President Trump and the Republican Party's victory in November. So join our Victory Finance Committee by visiting donaldjtrump.com/bundle or by texting BUNDLE bundle to 88022. And as Finance Committee members progress in organizing donations, they each can reach individual and various fundraising goals and benchmarks that earn them membership status, rewards, including special invitations to exciting events and campaign briefings to help keep all of our Trump bundlers in the know. And you know what I say, ABB, baby, always be bundling. So ladies, I'm going to see if you have any final thoughts that you'd love to share with the American people who have tuned in with us tonight before we sign off. I'll start with you, Lara.
Oh my gosh. Well, I just want to say, look, it's a really special weekend. It's Mother's Day weekend. We know women run the world, and we know that that is because of moms. It is the greatest and the hardest job in the entire world. I want to wish every mom out there a very happy Mother's Day. This is a unique year. We are all spending a lot of time together, but I say it to Eric all the time. I don't think any of us will ever look back on all the extra time we got to spend with our loved ones, with our families, and say we wish we hadn't done that, you know, many, many years down the line. So happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. And I want to say happy Mother's Day to all of you ladies, too. You're great moms, you're inspirations, and love to all of you.
Fantastic. Thank you, sweetheart. All right, Katrina.
Yeah, you know, I just want to say, you know, it's just been an honor to work with all of you women because for many years now, we've all been, quote, working moms, and it is difficult. And we have so many working moms out there who have taken the opportunity to spend time with their children, time that, otherwise would not have been spent. And I think a lot of them, at least some of the feedback that I'm receiving, just kind of takes me back to when my baby, who's not a baby anymore, was young and working. And it's just that, man, it's like this time is so important. So looking at the silver lining of what we're dealing with right now as a country and just channeling that into positive energy, spending time with your family. And so I just thank all of you for being such great friends and great moms. And to our viewers, we know a lot of you who are at home and have time now to spend with your family and watch Team Trump online. We appreciate all of you spending your time with us and allowing us to be a part of that time with your family and a part of this time for your Mother's Day. And so happy Mother's Day to everyone watching, to everyone on this program, and to everyone who's working behind the scenes. The Trump campaign is just phenomenal. We're here for the American people. This is why we do this programming. We want to stay in touch and stay engaged during this time that we're going through in the country. And so don't forget to sign up and get your MAGA Mama hat so that everyone knows that you love MAGA Moms.
Look,
and your t-shirt.
I'm a teacher.
Happy Mother's Day, everyone.
Oh my gosh, Mercy, I mean, look at how happy you are. She can sell it. She can sell ice to Eskimos. Go ahead. Let me see what else you got there. Women for Trump as well. A beautiful V-neck. Gorgeous colors there. Fantastic. And the hat is actually a cute hat.
DonaldJTrump.com.
Yes.
It's QVC. Are we a QVC show now? I don't quite know.
I was just going to say, run the ticker at the bottom so people know where to go buy their
merchandise.
Please make Mercy happy and go to the website, like Laura said, and buy the hats and buy the shirts. Support our incredible president and his re-election bid. He has all of our backs. That's what we have to have his back. And nobody has been better to women, providing economic emancipation and empowerment than President Donald J. Trump. Let your voice and your vote be heard and felt on November 3rd. And I want to say thank you again to all of you for choosing to spend this time with us. And happy Mother's Day to all the incredible, great mothers out there. We love you. God bless you and your families. Thank you.
Happy Mother's Day. Love you, Mom. Happy Mother's Day, Mom. We love you.
Happy Mother's Day, Mom. I love you so much.